everyone. Today I'm going to take you through a session that's focusing on our feet. So our feet we often neglect, we don't give them any attention, but they're one of the hardest working parts of our body. We're always on them. So for today's session, you'll need a towel and a ball to massage under the foot. So I'm just using a golf ball. You can use one of those. You can use any kind of variation of massage ball you've got around, or even just a firm tennis ball or something like that. This is what we're going to use to start with. So, also need a chair. So you can do this sitting it down, or you can do it standing up. Put your ball on the ground, place it under the arch of your foot, and we're just going to roll through there, massaging out under the foot. You can come right to the front of the foot, just before the toes, and right to the back, around the heel. You do want to apply a bit of pressure, so I'm actually going to do this standing now. A bit more weight through there. Just really massaging out through it. If you find any tender spots, kind of work around there to really loosen it up. If you've never paid any attention to your feet, this can be quite tight. So if it's really tender, just don't press as firmly into the ground. Alright, I'm going to switch sides. Same thing on the other side. I'm just going to work all the way through the foot, through the front, through the back, through the middle. Even after this one alone, you'll often feel a lot looser through the feet. You can do this anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute or more, depending how much time you have, if you're doing this by yourself without the video. It's great to come home and do this after you've had a long day on the feet. It just really loosens up through there. Alright, stopping there. So now, taking your seat, we're just going to get through the feet a bit more. So, bringing your ankle across your knee like this. I want you to grab the foot, so one hand on the forefoot, one hand just cupping the heel, and you're just going to twist the foot in opposite directions with your hands, like you're doing one of the old Chinese burns on your arm. Just alternating forward and back. It's a good way to get lots of movement through all the little joints. Pull your foot towards you, and then the opposite direction, switching feet. Gently twisting forward and back, trying to get some movement through all the little joints. Pulling towards you, and back. Alright, now we're going to work on extension of the big toe, so essentially bringing our big toe up like that. So you can do that in this position again, just by grabbing the big toe and pulling it towards you into a gentle stretch. If that's enough, staying there. The other option, if you're able to, you can come down into a kneeling position with your toes tucked under you like that and sitting back on your feet. So we're going to do about 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other, or if you're doing this and we're doing both, we're doing it for about a minute. So this movement through the big toe is really important just for your everyday walking. If you don't have this mobility as you're walking, you'll find ways to compensate, and that can be things like sticking your foot outwards, as well as not getting the proper push-off with your walk. So if you're doing it one toe at a time, switch feet now. Just another 15 seconds. Stopping there. Now, coming back up onto your chair, we're going to do the opposite movement. So we want to essentially bring our foot into a stretch like that. So I just like to support my leg with one arm, use the other arm to pull my foot into the position of a ballerina's feet. I'm just going to hold this for 30 seconds. Switching sides. Same on the other side, pulling your foot into a ballerina's kind of toes, supporting the knee with your other arm. So I'm feeling a bit of a stretch there. If you're not feeling a stretch, that's okay. We're still coming into a nice position, which your foot doesn't normally come into. So it's good to just explore your range of motion like that. Slowly coming out. Alright, so we're going to use the towel next. And we're going to get a nice stretch through the arches. So this is a really good exercise if you get tight through your arches, when you're doing lots of walking or things like that. So just fold the towel up. You try and find it. I'll show you what I'm going to do, but you can adjust to find a desirable lift for yourself. But holding on the back of the chair, place the towel on the ground. So you want your toes to be on the towel, but this forefoot to be on the ground. So you're starting in a position like that. So both sides, toes on the towel, toes are lifted up, forefoot on the ground. Adjust your towel if you need. I'm just going to make one a bit tighter. That's better. Now, from here, we're going to come up onto our toes. You can see the front part of my foot still touching the ground, and it's only my toes that are lifted up. And as I come up, I get a nice stretch through the arch of the feet at the very top. So we're going to do 15 of these. If you find this easy, you can even do it on one leg. Nice and slow. That's 4, 5, 10 more. Keep going. That's 9. 10, 5 more. Feeling that in my calves, and at the top I'm feeling that through the arches of my feet. It's 13, 14, last one, 15. Coming down. Placing the towel off to the side. If you were doing that on one foot, just pause the video and do the same on the other side. Now what we're going to do now there's a bit of dexterity and coordination through the feet. So it's using a lot of the foot muscles. We'll start with one of the easier exercises and work to more difficult. So we're actually going to use the towel again. Place it under the front of your foot, keeping the heel off the towel. Don't lift your heel as you do this, and you're going to scrunch your toes towards you, trying to gradually pull the towel towards you like that. This is a really good exercise for getting all the muscle in your feet working, the ones that support your arch. You see, I've just gradually pulled the whole thing towards me. And do the same on the other side. So heel off the towel, keeping it on the ground the whole time, and just gradually pulling the towel towards me using the toes. You may find this harder on one side, that's okay. Just work through it. Aim to get the towel moving, but if you're unable to, even doing this motion, still get some of the muscles working through there. I'm going to do that one more time on each side. So doing that on the left again. Moving the towel and doing it on the right. Okay, now moving the towel off the side. Alright, this last set of exercises can be really challenging. I used to not be able to do it, I've kind of taught myself to do it. So we're going to try to get individual movement through every toe. So essentially what we want to do, keep the foot on the ground, so the heel and this forefoot is touching the ground at all times. And I want you to try to keep your 4 smaller toes on the ground while you lift the big toe up, like that. Now, a lot of you won't be able to do that, so what you can do to start with is just hold the toes to the ground and then focus on lifting the big toe. I'm just going to move the camera closer to make this a bit easier to see. So the goal is to get the big toe up like that, but you might need to start with just a bit of help like that. And the more you do this, you'll find you'll gradually be able to take your hand away and do it without moving the toes. So we'll do 10 repetitions of this. And then we're going to do 10 on the other side, holding the toes if you need like that, or if you're able to do it without, even better. Okay, now back to the left foot. This time we're going to keep the big toe down and lift all the other toes. Once again, you can use your hand to support initially until you're able to get that differentiation between the toes. And we're doing 10 of these. So as I said before, I could not do this initially. I've just been practicing. These particular exercises I do every morning. My feet feel so much better for them. I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I've started to get the coordination to do it without using my hands to assist. But this gets a lot of the intrinsic muscles of the foot working, so all the little muscles inside the feet. Now coming back to this foot, try to keep your heel and this part on the ground still. But we're going to have all our toes up and just tapping the big toe down to the ground and lifting it back up like that. Once again, you can use your hand to start if you need for that extra bit of support. the other toes, keeping the big toe up. Okay. In the right foot, all the toes up, tapping the big toe down. This is probably the #1 exercise I'd recommend for your feet. As I said before, I do this every morning as a part of my morning routine, which takes about 5 to 10 minutes. And then the other toes down and keeping the big toe up. Because I've done this a few times, now when I do it in the morning, I can actually do both feet together. Initially, it's probably easy doing one foot at a time for concentration. Now the last thing, we'll do the left foot first, keep all your toes up. Try to touch the floor one at a time, working through like you're playing on the piano. So little toe working the way to the big toe. Like a wave. And then the same on the other side. Playing the piano with your toes, or kind of like a wave across. Alright, and that's it. So after that, my feet are feeling pretty good, feeling nice and loose, and they feel like they've actually had a workout, which you don't often get in your feet. So trying to do this routine regularly, or just choosing some of the exercises and doing them regularly, you'll really feel the carryover for your long days of standing, your long days of walking, things like that. Anyways, I'll see you soon with some other exercises. Thanks, guys.